Let's stop talking about Trump. We talk about him too much. We want to tell people what we're going to do for them. Yeah. Healthcare, environment, those kind of issues. For example, I've seen you on TV a lot in the last couple of years. I know everything you know or that you tell us about the Russian situation. I don't have a clue what you think about healthcare. I've never heard it. Yeah. I don't know whether you're for Medicare for all or improve Obamacare or get a chicken. I don't know what.
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now, that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son.
Just days ago, Bill Maher called out Adam Schiff for what he described as glaring hypocrisy. And now we're diving even deeper. Welcome to part 2, where Schiff's double standards and long-running fixation on Donald Trump take center stage. Critics say it borders on obsession, pointing to years of interviews and headlines promising Trump's downfall. Schiff made bold claims and dramatic speeches, but despite the noise, none of it stuck. If you're into political drama with no filter, now's the time to hit that subscribe button, because this story is far from over.
I was always of the opinion, number one, that the Office of Legal Counsel opinion that you can't indict a sitting president was wrong.
Oh, good.
That, in fact, you can indict a sitting president. I think there are prudential reasons not to try someone who's the President of the United States, but particularly when there's any risk of the statute of limitations running. If the president commits a crime, they should be indicted, and you should stay prosecution. So, but frankly, I had no expectation that that would be the course Mueller would take, even if the evidence supported it, because he is fundamentally conservative, and I don't mean left-right conservative, but he was going to follow the established policy. He was not going to make new ground. So I didn't think it was realistic to expect that he would indict the president. And those that did, I think, were unrealistic in their expectations.
Adam Schiff built his political brand around opposing Donald Trump, and the media couldn't get enough of it. Sure, supporting your party is expected, but turning every Trump headline into a personal crusade. That's less about public service and more about spotlight chasing. Schiff often came off less like a congressman and more like the president of an anti-Trump fan club. The real issue is a distraction from what the country actually needs. Leaders focus on results, not just rhetoric. While the Russia investigation fizzled with no major revelations, Schiff kept stoking the fire, grabbing headlines instead of hard evidence. Bill Maher recently called him out, saying Schiff acted more like a Trump stalker than a serious lawmaker, and honestly, that's not far off. It was never really about truth. It was about political theater. Well, break it all down after this clip, because trust me, it only gets wilder from here.
This was our big gun. Now it just looks like you're stalking him. I think in the eyes of the people who don't follow it that closely, which is most of the country, here's the thing about Bob Mueller. He's like the last person, maybe the last thing in America that left and right agreed on. Left and right basically agreed. This is a guy of honor. This is an honest guy. This is an honest broker. Whatever he says goes. Americans are not into details. Don't read it to me, Bob. Just give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. The fact that he was like, if you couldn't impeach before, how are you going to impeach after?
Let's be real. Adam Schiff was never chasing justice. This wasn't about truth or transparency. It was always about one thing: getting Trump out of office and paving the way for his party to retake control. If you look closely, the strategy wasn't even subtle. Schiff's every move, from dramatic speeches to headline-grabbing revelations, was part of a broader political game aimed at flipping power. And here's the tell. If Schiff really had airtight evidence, if his case was as solid as he kept claiming, then why was he already talking about a likely acquittal before the trial even started? That's not confidence. That's preemptive damage control. It wasn't about defending the Constitution. It was about managing optics, energizing donors, and feeding a political base that wanted a win at any cost.
Here's the awful dilemma that we face. If we don't impeach him, that sends a message that this kind of conduct, this obstruction of justice, this kind of willing use of the help of a foreign adversary, all the lies and cover-up, that this is non-impeachable. At the same time, if we do impeach him, and he is acquitted as he would likely be acquitted, then the message is those are not impeachable offenses. And At the end of the day, Bill, there's only one way to deal with this problem, whether we impeach him or not, and that is to vote his ass out of office.
Truth wasn't the goal, control was. Headlines, momentum, and boosting his party's standing were the real endgame, and just when it all seemed too obvious to ignore, Bill Maher stepped in with a question that cut straight through Schiff's entire narrative. Maher has a way of seeing past the spin, and this time, he didn't hold back. For nearly 7 years, Schiff has built his brand around positioning Trump as the ultimate villain, repeating familiar lines and rallying his base. But Maher stripped it all down to the basics with one pointed challenge. Okay, if Trump's that bad, why should we vote for your candidate? And the response? Crickets. Then Maher pushed further. What does Adam Schiff actually stand for? No slogans. No sound bites. Just a call for substance. And that's where it landed hardest. Without the anti-Trump framing, Schiff's message feels hollow. No bold agenda. No standout policies. Just a long-running monologue focused on one opponent. And in that moment, the political spotlight turned into a harsh glare.
Stop talking about Trump. We talk about him too much. We want to tell people what we're going to do for them. Healthcare, environment, those kind of issues. For example, I've seen you on TV a lot in the last couple of years. I know everything you know, or that you tell us, about the Russian situation. I don't have a clue what you think about healthcare. I've never heard it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you're for Medicare for all, or improve Obamacare, or get a chicken. I don't know what.
Reads where the contradictions really start stacking up. After years of positioning himself as a champion of truth and justice, Adam Schiff's reaction to the Hunter Biden laptop story raised serious questions. Rather than calling for transparency or a fair investigation, he immediately shifted into defense mode. It wasn't just a shrug. It was full-on pushback, with zero hesitation. When people began asking valid questions, Schiff didn't welcome the inquiry. He went on offense. Even John Paul Mac Isaac, the repair shop owner at the center of the story, found himself under fire. To his credit, Mac Isaac kept a sense of humor through it all, once referring to Schiff with a cheeky nickname. But the situation highlights a broader issue. Instead of encouraging scrutiny, Schiff opted for political framing. In a system that values open dialogue, someone who brings potentially significant information to light, like Mac Isaac, should at least be heard out, not publicly discredited. But rather than dig into the details, Schiff took to the airwaves, casting doubt and framing the whole incident as suspect. The shift from fact-finding to damage control was hard to ignore, and it's moments like these that challenge the credibility of those who claim to put truth first.
John Paul, we know that your life has been turned absolutely upside down because you were accused of spreading Russian disinformation. Tell us about the last few years and what led you to file this lawsuit.
Good morning, Carly. Thanks for having me on the show. Well, the last couple of years have been pretty tough. It was pretty quick out of the gate that I was labeled a hacker. And then after Adam Schiff and 51 intelligence experts decided to pen a letter and tell the rest of the American people I was a Russian asset, things have kind of gone downhill.
Adam Schiff publicly dismissed the Hunter Biden laptop story as Russian disinformation, without presenting concrete evidence to support that claim. The move wasn't just bold. It sparked an instant media frenzy. Major outlets ran with the narrative, and within days, the whistleblower at the center of the story was cast in a suspicious light. No investigation, no vetting, just swift public skepticism. Schiff didn't appear to call for further examination or facts. Instead, he pointed to foreign interference, suggesting the entire incident was a coordinated smear designed to disrupt the election. He tied it to well-known political figures and labeled it a last-minute tactic aimed at undermining Joe Biden. It wasn't just commentary. It shaped the media conversation overnight. Critics argued this wasn't a call for caution. It was a shutdown of dialogue. By framing the issue as a national security concern, Schiff effectively directed public attention away from the contents of the laptop and toward the narrative of foreign manipulation. The result? Many Americans never got to engage with the facts on their own terms. And that, some say, is where the real disservice occurred.
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son.
Here's the twist. The Hunter Biden laptop was real. The emails? Verified. The business dealings and foreign financial connections? Also legitimate. That's what makes this so frustrating. Because instead of acknowledging that, Rep. Adam Schiff publicly dismissed the story during a critical election season, framing it as disinformation without offering verified evidence. That wasn't just a bad call. It left voters in the dark. And instead of accountability or transparency after the fact, we've largely gotten silence. It's moments like these that fuel public frustration. Just ask Bill Maher or any commentator tired of watching politics turn into team sports. This isn't just about Schiff. It's about a broader culture in Washington where loyalty to party too often takes priority over the truth. When one side makes a misstep, it's either ignored or reframed. But when the other side slips, it's breaking news for weeks. That kind of imbalance doesn't serve the public. It only deepens distrust.
Group of people who are not ideologically captured by either side. I am tired of the extremes and the extremists who dominate the debate. They have the megaphone and we hear them more, but I don't think they represent what most people in the country talk about. I think almost any issue you could actually come up with a reasonable middle ground.
Let's be honest. This isn't about justice or truth anymore. It's about protecting political turf and defending power at all costs. That's not leadership. It's damage control dressed in a suit. What we're seeing isn't public service. It's political theater, and the price is national trust. Too many in office are acting more like party loyalists than representatives of the people. And unless we start holding them accountable, they'll keep pulling the country deeper into partisan chaos and dysfunction. It's long past time we called it out clearly and directly. Adam Schiff has become a symbol of this broader problem. He built a brand on attacking Donald Trump, often with intense rhetoric, but stayed silent or dismissive when serious questions were raised about issues like the Hunter Biden laptop story. Why? Because it didn't fit the narrative his party was pushing. This kind of selective outrage isn't helping the country, it's hurting it. And voters across the board are starting to see through it.
Let's live in the year we're living in. You know, the year 2024 is just very different. Very, like night and day different from 50 years ago, even probably 20 years ago.
10. And when the truth finally came out, did he own it? Not quite. Instead, he doubled down. Unfortunately, he's not alone in that strategy. These days, plenty of politicians on both sides treat politics like a team sport where winning matters more than doing what's right. It's not about truth or accountability anymore. It's about keeping the party shielded, no matter the cost. The bigger picture, often ignored. As long as their side stays on top, everything else gets swept under the rug. Bill Maher put it perfectly with one piercing question. If all you've got is fear of the other side, what are you actually offering? And for many, the answer is, not much. Americans deserve leaders who stand for something. People with principles, not just personalities chasing airtime. We need real voices, not recycled outrage and recursed talking points. If we keep accepting this kind of political performance, we're not just stuck. We're heading in the wrong direction. That's it for today's video. If this got you thinking, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We're just getting started. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.